Hey everyone, welcome to our first live show in like 7 months.
It's been a while.
I'm Adam,
And I'm Brian.
and we kind of we've been wanting to do this show for a while,
We
quite
have.
honestly. And before we even get to this show, for over a year now, we've been trying to think of a way to honor Aaron Scott,
Yeah.
who is instrumental in making 10 count what it is today. From the Keaton Invitational Tournament, he had fingerprints all over that.
Yep.
Our point system,
Yeah.
he helped with that, and he's helped a lot with the tag team division. Ideas and suggestions for fantasy questions and wording. He was our logics guy. He was, we would come up with the ideas and he'd be like, okay, well, what if this, and this happened?
Yeah, he was the brains behind the operation.
Really
is what.
Yeah, we were the idea men and kind of hype men.
Yeah,
if you will,
like the hype. Baby.
And Aaron was like, okay, but and so we've been trying to come up with a way to honor him and to add a little oomph to 10 count while we did that. And we got to talking and we realized like just putting his name on something wasn't quite it didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
And so a couple months ago we were talking with Corey, and we got to talking about how Aaron loved Pokemon Go and he played WWE Supercard, and we started talking about how Aaron just liked board games and figuring out rules and games, and he had a knack for competition.
He was great at board games. I didn't play him a whole lot, but just from what I heard from you and other people, he was really hard to beat.
He was good, and he also could figure out a few steps ahead, which when you're doing 10 count picks and something like this, you kind of have to think a couple of steps ahead, or else things happen and you have to like adjust. And so he's really good about looking ahead and seeing how changing this one rule or this one points format could affect other things. And so once we started brainstorming and we started realizing a perfect way to marry Aaron's love of strategy and board games to 10 count, and something that we've been wanting to do for a while is to change 10 count up, add a little spice. As a lot of while wrestling itself has been a lot of fun, sometimes, how do you say it, like it hasn't always been like that. Until like recently with Vince McMahon and all that stuff, wrestling started getting a little dull.
Yeah, it did, a little bland.
And like even I've noticed like our conversations on the 10 counts discussion thread would get kind of quiet because wrestling felt predictable.
It did.
And so we've been looking for a while at a way to spice it up. And Brian, I feel like we've found something.
Yeah, and speaking of Vince McMahon, he would always say back in the day, it's time to shake things up. And that was actually your idea. That's kind of what this is called. And so to honor Aaron, this moving forward, this will be called the Shake Up. Yeah, the Shake Up. So
the Shake Up, and
it feels right.
It does, and it does. And I think probably one of the most like exciting things growing up wrestling is when they would announce Vince is going to be on the show next week.
Major announcement.
Yeah,
that was the best.
That was always the coolest. I'm not saying that you're going to feel this way, especially, based on how the points may go for you in the future.
Yeah.
But we are excited to introduce some new stuff, and you guys will also get to play a part in it. I'm going to set this up for Brian, and I'm going to let him kind of take you through what the shakeup actually means.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned earlier, Aaron liked WWE Supercard. And so, you can always play a card sometimes. And even if you've played the new 2K games, especially WWE, they have cards, shake-ups, and all that kind of stuff. So this kind of plays into that idea where you can, maybe for a pay-per-view or a season, matches will be worth more points, or maybe certain situations can earn or lose you points. And we've also got cool ways to decide how that happens. So, Brian, without further ado,
let's shake things up. Let's shake things up and 10 count, and let's get this going. So like Adam said, there's a couple different things that we're going to feature here in the shake up. And one of them is 17-0. So you're probably wondering, well, maybe what is that? Well, first of all, Aaron's favorite wrestler correct me if I'm wrong, was the dead man, The Undertaker. He loved The Undertaker, and The Undertaker had the streak at WrestleMania. Obviously, it was eventually. We were there for it.
Yeah, we were there.
Shocking when it was broken. But, he had the streak, WrestleMania streak, and it was 21-0 until he lost, I believe. And because of that, we're like, well, let's do something for Aaron because of, him liking The Undertaker and the streak. So Aaron he was in 10 count for 17 straight. He picked 17 straight seasons. So the first part of the shakeup is 17-0. And that will, the 17-0 will be something that happens basically year round.
Yeah.
The whole season. And the first thing that will happen for 17-0 will be at the Royal Rumble, possibly before the Royal Rumble, which...
Yeah, so this is a card that will be played basically for a whole season. And the first one.
Yeah, the first one, again, is called Ready to Rumble. And it will be at the Royal Rumble, obviously, and possibly before that if we have a Battle Royal or anything like that. And the Royal Rumble will be worth 13 points, 7 for the specialty and 6 for special occasions. Yeah. And special occasions, sorry. Yeah. Plus 6 points for Aaron's 3 championships and 3 tournament championships that he had right here in 10 count. So it's something we're really excited about for 17-0. And we'll have some more ideas and to pick before next season. But this will be the first thing that we'll be featuring in January and maybe before.
And the reason we're doing this is because a lot of you, Mike, Morris, have complained that the Royal Rumble just doesn't feel like there's enough points. And so this was the first thing that came to mind for us is like to address that because we didn't just want to throw points out there. But, with, again, like basically how this is going to work is cards will be played.
Right.
In this situation, we decided what card. And that will probably more likely happen with 17-0 where we come up with ideas for it. And, of course, you guys are more than welcome to suggest ideas. Definitely. But we basically look at the WWE landscape and decide, okay, what's been happening lately? Look at the trends and see if there's certain things that's been like, for example, if there's more tag team matches. Maybe for a whole season, we'll highlight tag team matches or, something to that effect. So that's kind of the idea of 17-0 is a whole season. And those will mostly be decided by us at the beginning of a season or like, for this season, it's a little different because we're starting so far in. So this may last until the end of the season, and it may go into season 21.
Yeah, and this was originally, I believe, we came up with the idea of the power card.
Yeah.
And that was off the WWE, I guess, the power card as well. And then we just thought that, it wasn't as much of a unique name for Aaron. So we just figured, since he loved The Undertaker and the streak, obviously, that The Undertaker had, we thought that we would come up with our own streak that Aaron had right here in 10 count, and that is 17-0. So that is the first part of the shakeup. But this is a 2-part deal. So, 2-part deal. The other part is called the storyline. Obviously, WWE's famous for storylines, and some good, some bad. But, so those will be featured maybe for a couple pay-per-views at a time. It could be for just one pay-per-view. It could be for 3 or 4. It could be over a specific span there. And they could be determined anytime based on certain events, situations, and also potentially with a spin of the wheel. You remember a thing called Raw Roulette?
I do.
Back in the day with Eric Bischoff. So this is something, an idea that I kind of had. I was hinting it to Adam, and he was, I don't know. And he was curious. He's like, "What do you got going?" I'm all about the hype and stuff and new ideas, and they're always good, right?
I don't know about curious,
but yeah. So that's the Raw Roulette. So we kind of thought that we may end up having. We were going to start with a virtual wheel, but we may eventually have an actual wheel.
And so just a little background. So first off, not only Raw Roulette, but for some of you who may have seen Aaron, he used to work with the radio station. Him and I worked together. And part of his job initially was to go out to the events and like get people excited about our radio stations. And one of those things that we used, a tool, was a prize wheel. And so, you probably have seen it. You go out and spin it. Mm-hmm. You land on a certain spot, you win. You land on any other spot, you lose. And so that was like one of the cool things that helps you like add some excitement to an event. And so when he mentioned Raw Roulette, I was like, this is perfect because it marries wrestling with, something else that Aaron loved, which was, his job in radio.
Yeah, so it kind of goes hand in hand there. And I didn't even really think about that when I mentioned Raw Roulette, but it really goes hand in hand. And that's going to be something kind of cool that we feature. And it's also something that, the group right here maybe can have some ideas to put on the roulette wheel to determine what we do for the season or for certain storylines.
Yeah, exactly. And and we have some ideas already cooked up, which we'll share in a link in the description below once this is finished recording. We'll share it there. And also another reason we wanted to call it storyline is because Aaron loved discussing storylines. He loved coming up with his own ideas. Like one of our favorite things sometimes is we would take, Raw versus SmackDown or whichever ones started with the GM mode where you kind of do your own stories. And he would get Raw or SmackDown. I think he would get SmackDown. I would get Raw. And he would build a story. And it didn't matter if it was on the screen or not. In his head, there was a story there. And, I couldn't think of a better way to honor Aaron than storyline.
Yeah, and y'all did you were talking about the GM mode where y'all had the Raw and SmackDown head to head. And we did that. I think we would sometimes do that at my house or even the Lake House when we'd hang out there. And he just loved discussing storylines and coming up with cool ideas for the future, which is what this is all about. And the best part is you guys can help us come up with ideas, submit them, which will, fill you in on how to do that later. But we'll have the wheel and we can do it live where you guys can see that'll be cool.
Which storyline is chosen for that week or excuse me, that pay-per-view or even on, because we have some storyline ideas that actually could last a little bit longer. And I'm really excited about some of those. That's definitely going to be fun there. And it's going to be great to get everybody's participation and again, ideas and whatnot. From that. So that'll be great. But we will say you will have, a heads up before a pay-per-view that this is happening, so, and we'll make it clear in the match card as well. Like if points are doubled or if you could lose points, we have a few ideas where you could potentially lose points. And, we're excited to put a little excitement into it, especially because the plan is to hopefully start watching the pay-per-views again together.
That would be great.
And so doing something like this live, that's my favorite part about watching a pay-per-view live with people is the points themselves. Yeah. Because it always gets fun and spicy.
Stay spicy, my friend, as you say to me. That's definitely looking forward to it. And I think it's going to give people opportunities too that are behind in the standings to potentially, gain some points there, or fall further behind. But it'll give you more opportunity to potentially catch up. And who doesn't love the opportunity for more points?
Exactly.
I know I love it.
But we also don't want to just go out there and start throwing points at you or making it. What's the word we kept?
I thought about that about 4 times tonight during the show. Too gimmicky. Something that WCW kind of helped run it in the ground a little bit. Yeah, too gimmicky. We don't want. We want to make sure we don't have too many rules and stipulations and whatnot. Because we don't want to confuse people.
And we also, we don't want to have too much to keep up with because that's one thing. We finally figured out a system to get the points where automatically everything adds up. All you gotta do is pick it. And so we don't want people, trying to remember this rule or that rule or get confused. So we're going to try to do our best to not only not oversaturate with all these different, cards, so to speak, but also to kind of, make sure you understand what's happening and when it's happening.
Yeah. And for any questions, as we always said, feel free to reach out to either of us and we'll be happy to explain, to the best of our ability, what each, either storyline or 17-0, whatever that may be, we'll be glad to answer that for you. So but we look forward to it. It's gonna be fun. I know Aaron would really, I think, like this, and it's something that really honors him, I think, in a really good way. Yeah, and it's a way to keep him in 10 count forever. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree, and I couldn't say it better than you did earlier. It's time to shake things up.
Yes, it is. It's time to shake things up. I cannot wait, man. This is, like I said, this has been a long time coming to announce this, and glad that we are and that we're gonna shake things up. And 10 counts, 10 counts getting hotter day by day.
But all right, well, thanks again for those of you who watched.
Yep.
If you have any suggestions or if you still want to learn more, like I said, I'm going to put a link in the description so you can go read what we basically just talked about. You can also see some of the ideas that we have. As well as if you have ideas, you can put them in the comments below or let us know on either 10 Count thread on Facebook Messenger. Brian, I think we did it.
I think we did, man. I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than doing a live show, especially like with me and you. It just brings back so many memories. We started the Lowdown, my goodness, it was like 13, 14 years ago, right after, kind of not long after Kenny had passed away, one of our founding members. And you know, so we're kind of, and stay tuned on that. We might bring some version of that back in the near future. So stay tuned.
Looking forward to that.
But yeah, there's nothing like doing some videos live.
Yeah. And you know, what better way than to honor Aaron with a show like this. And we have more of that coming up soon. So you can keep an eye out for that. But yeah, until next time, I think that does it.
Yeah, I think it does. We don't really we usually have a tagline. I don't know if we do tonight, but yeah. Until next time,
stay shook, my friends.
That's right. Yeah. Stay shook, my friends, and we're going to continue to shake things up.